it is time for us to explore once again another trade deadline target for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and we are going to continue to focus on starting pitching. We're going to continue to dream about Shohei Ohtani, but we're going to maybe set our sights a little bit more reasonably. Today's first trade deadline target is St. Louis Cardinals left-handed pitcher Jordan Montgomery. Jesse, this guy has been an absolute stud for a Cardinals team that has not had very much good when it comes to their starting rotation.
No, Derek, the Cardinals are underrated. They're emerging, right?
They're hot.
I hate you both.
I mean, you said it.
I know. Well, anyway,
you deserve
it's
every
because
bit
of
that.
Jordan Montgomery, right? Look at this ERA and this WHIP. This guy's been an impressive pitcher for this team.
He really has a 3.14 ERA, a 1.23 WHIP, 109 innings this year. Good strikeout numbers, good walk numbers, a 3.49 FIP. He's been really solid, really ever since coming over to the Cardinals last year. It was an interesting, actually a trade deadline deal that went down last summer between the Yankees and the Cardinals. Jordan Montgomery went from New York over to St. Louis, and he's been really good ever since landing with the Cardinals. And yeah, we talked about Jack Flaherty on the show yesterday as an option, and people in the chat were like, why would you trade for Jack Flaherty when you can go get Jordan Montgomery? And yeah,
you have Jack Flaherty at home.
Yeah, right, exactly. But yeah, I mean, Montgomery being a lefty definitely helps theoretically, although it seems like Tommy Henry is sort of here to stay in the D-backs rotation, so maybe that isn't an urgent need. But he is a lefty, and he brings a lot of other things as well.
He's got some pros and cons, like Jesse said. He definitely is a lefty. He's a clear upgrade right now when it comes to what the Arizona Diamondbacks have in their starting rotation. And he's available as long as this Cardinals team doesn't do the thing I'm lying about and actually does emerge.
The Cardinals have already, and
team.
it kind of surprised me, but John Mozeliak, their head honcho dude, I don't know exactly what his official title is, if it's GM.
It is head honcho dude.
Yeah, head honcho dude.
Forward.
Sometimes it's the president of baseball operations,
Yeah.
sometimes it's GM. It's all the same. But he's already come out and said the Cardinals are going to sell at the trade deadline. It's just a matter of whether they're selling off pieces like Montgomery, who are only under team control through the rest of the season, or whether they might be willing to sell off a Goldschmidt or an Arenado or some of the other guys that we've also already discussed on this show. As far as cons go for Montgomery, he is a rental, as I alluded to. You're only getting him for 2 months for the rest of the year. Theoretically, that should minimize the price. It shouldn't be too crazy, but obviously, as I also have here, there's a ton of demand in the starting pitching market, especially given that he's one of the few lefties who projects to be available. And another con would be he has pitched a couple of times in the postseason in his career, but he's never pitched more than 4 innings in a game. He's never been like the big, like, all right, you are, the game 3 starter and we need 5 or 6 innings from you. He hasn't really fulfilled that role yet in his limited postseason experience, and the D-backs would probably need him to do that if they were to make this trade. But across the board, I mean, is in terms of availability, the fact that he is definitely an option for the Diamondbacks. There's no question the Cardinals are going to trade him, and he checks a lot of boxes for sure.
Sean, what do you think the likelihood of them targeting Jordan Montgomery could be? And again, like Jesse said about the Cardinals parting ways with him.
I mean, I guess it's hard to speak on likelihood. I feel like they're going to obviously do their due diligence on all of these guys. I mean, I feel like there's a higher likelihood simply because, like Jesse mentioned, they have said they're going to sell.
Yeah.
And
it's not one of those teams that we have to sit there and wonder
exactly.
if they're going
to they're going to sell, and the Diamondbacks are going to get a starting pitcher. So
yeah,
those two things obviously match up. Definitely likely in that sense, I guess.
I know that's like an impossible task, just like asking you how likely this is. But what do you think it would cost, Jesse, for a Jordan Montgomery? Do you think that's going to cost more than the Diamondbacks are going to want to give, or given the fact that he
probably?
I mean, yeah, because I mean, I feel like all of the teams selling are it's
you hold all the cards.
It's a seller's market this time, right? Because the ones that are selling, they are in power, and then they're also very limited, right? So it's like,
especially when we're talking about a lefty, like
right. And I mean, I'm just saying, like, as far as the teams that right now are willing to negotiate or even take trade deadline calls, like I feel like the Tigers, I feel like Cardinals, I feel like there's like maybe 5 or 6 teams in baseball right now that are willing to even start negotiating on trades, whereas all the rest of the entire league is still thinking that they're still in it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, the Cardinals is interesting. That the fit between the D-backs and the Cardinals is interesting. The Cardinals have a lot of young, exciting position players. Brendan Donovan, Lars Nootbaar, the list goes on. What the Cardinals really need,
Lars Nootbaar.
right? What the Cardinals really need is starting pitching. They need like long-term pitching assets, and something that their front office has really emphasized is swing and miss. That's something the Cardinals have not really emphasized in the past. They've been the team that like, all right, we're going to pitch to contact and we're going to shift better than all the other teams. We're going to play better defense than all the other teams. But in this era where, you know, the shift restrictions are now in place, I think that's a big reason that the Cardinals haven't had the success this year that they've had in the past. Like it's a different game this year.
It's not just Yadier Molina.
Yeah, and it's 90% the absence of Yadier Molina, but 10% is other factors.
Woes. That's different. This is defense, right?
I mean, well, yeah. I mean, this is sort of starting pitching woes in a sense too. But what they've said is that they're targeting guys with big swing and miss stuff. They don't want the pitch to contact types of guys. They want the swing and miss guys, and they want pitchers over position players. That's at least what it looks like. I'm not sure the Diamondbacks necessarily are a great fit from that standpoint.
Sure.
They do have some pitching prospects. They do have some interesting pitching prospects, especially at the upper levels of the minors. But none of those guys are crazy swing and miss guys, I wouldn't say. So I don't know if it's a great fit, just D-backs and Cardinals and, you know, what they're going to be looking for in this trade. But who knows? You know, I mean, we really, at the end of the day, don't know. All it takes is like one pitching prospect in the Diamondback system that the Cardinals really like that could flip this around. So we'll see.
Just about to come out of my mouth.
That's who it's going to be.
Yeah, I could maybe see the Cardinals asking about him.
Well, there's quite a bit of talk about who the Diamondbacks could trade, and it seems like his name gets brought up quite a bit because he does seem like an exceptional young talent that really right now just has all the potential in the world to be one of the best pitchers in baseball.